Hi, my name is Karen Fredericks. Welcome to Outlook 2010 Essential Training. You might think of Outlook as simply an email client. However, once you start to use it for a while, you'll start to realize what a powerful tool it is. Now, if you want to get technical, Outlook is a PIM, which stands for Personal Information Manager. But for me, it's a piece of software that's designed to help organize my life. In this course, I'm going to show you how to configure email accounts. Use Outlook as an email client. Use quick steps to help keep your mountain of email under control. Organize your time using multiple calendars. Create a task for all those things you still need to get to. Jot down your latest brainstorm on a note that you don't have to worry about losing. Add multiple addresses and phone numbers for each of your contacts. Read the latest posts to your favorite blogs. And finally, view your updates about your contacts from social networking sites. Outlook is a perfect tool to keep you organized, but I do have to warn you, it's addictive. And I know once you get started, you'll be as excited about it as I am.
Once you set up your email accounts, you'll need to learn how to navigate through Outlook. Although for the most part it's fairly intuitive, it never hurts to have a roadmap. We start by going to the Start button and going up to the Outlook icon. Now, one of the nice things about Outlook is if I don't want to open the entire program, I could just go to a single task. For example, I might want to send a new email message, but not bother opening up Outlook. But for now, we're going to go ahead and forge ahead and go into Outlook. The first thing you might notice is the ribbon that runs across the top of every Outlook window. The ribbon is divided into groups of icons, and we also have additional tabs that we can click on to see even more features. Now, anytime you notice a little triangle, that means if you click it, we can actually get a drop-down menu of more choices. And anytime you see the down triangle with a line above it, you can click it and actually get more icons. Some of the features that you use the most often will be found in the Quick Access toolbar that appears at the very top of the screen. We also have a search bar that you can click in, and when you click on it, you can type in your search or see more search options. The navigation bar runs along the left-hand side of the screen, and this shows you all of the features that we can find in Outlook. For example, we're currently on the Mail feature, but we can also change to the Calendar, to Contacts, or to Tasks. Or if you want to see everything that Outlook has to offer, you can flip over to the Folder List, where we're now seeing things like RSS feeds and notes. But for now, I'm going to flip back to the Mail. Depending on the view that you're currently in, you'll see items, and you might see a preview pane that runs to the right of the screen. You can change your view settings by clicking on the View tab. In this case, we can move the reading pane to the bottom of the screen. Running along the far right-hand side, we have a little recap with a small calendar and a recap of all the activities that we have planned for the rest of the week. One of the really nice features about Outlook is the File tab, and this is where you can go to set any of your Outlook preference settings. Once you become familiar with the Outlook interface, you'll want to move on and start learning some of the more advanced functionality that Outlook has to offer. If this is the first time you're firing up Outlook, you'll be greeted by the Outlook Startup Wizard. We're going to cancel out of the wizard and set up our email without using the wizard because both methods follow the same exact steps. However, before we close the wizard, let's take a moment to discuss the various kinds of email accounts that we can create in Outlook. There are 3 types of email accounts: an Exchange Server account, an IMAP account, and a POP SMT account. The Exchange Server is probably your easiest one to set up. Basically, your data actually sits on someone else's computer, and you normally have an IT guy who usually sets things up for you. An IMAP account is very similar to an Exchange account. It's generally associated with large public websites such as Yahoo, Google, or Hotmail and AOL. Your data actually sits on someone else's computer, and generally you can access your information directly from the Internet or through Outlook. A POP SMT account is generally associated with a private website. you'll see email addresses like info@mycompany.com or jsmith@abcco.net. The information in this case is stored on your own computer. If you have an account with a large ISP, such as the cable or phone company, chances are they assigned you a POP or SMTP account. Once you've determined the type of email account that you have, the next step is to gather the information that you'll need to set up your account. If you're using an Exchange server, this might entail getting a few tidbits of information, such as your username and password and server name, from your IT guy. If you're using an IMAP account, you might only need your username and password. POP email accounts are a little bit trickier because they'll require both information from the company hosting your website as well as from the internet service provider that provides you with your internet access. There is no limit to the number of email accounts that you can create in Outlook. In fact, you'll probably want to set up multiple email accounts, including one for your business and one for personal use. For more specific instructions on setting up your email accounts, please view the movie on setting up IMAP or Exchange accounts or the one on setting up a POP account. So let's cancel out of our wizard by clicking on Next, saying no, we don't want to configure an email account, and clicking Next again, and then checking off the button that says Continue with no email support, and then clicking Finish. Once you start Outlook up for the first time, you'll want to start configuring an email account. The following method is used to configure Exchange Server or IMAP email accounts. We start by going up to the File tab and clicking on Add an Account. First thing we do is type in our name, and the email address. We then type in our password, and type in our password again a second time, just in case we messed it up the first time. We then click Next, and wait while the Exchange server recognizes our settings. You might receive a message like this asking if it's all right to allow the website access to Outlook, and go ahead and click Allow. Soon you'll notice 3 green check marks, which is an indication that the account did set up correctly. And at that point, you'll click Finish. You'll be prompted to restart Outlook, so click OK, and close Outlook, and reopen it again. You might be prompted to put in your password, and click OK to continue. At this point, you might have to wait a minute or two while Outlook configures the new email account. If you receive another prompt, feel free to click Allow. And congratulations, your email account is now successfully configured. Once you set up your first account, you might want to repeat this process and set up another IMAP email account for your Yahoo or Google email. A POP email account is one that is normally associated with a website or internet service provider, such as Comcast or AT&T. They're slightly trickier to set up than an Exchange server account. Before you begin, you might want to do a little bit of detective work. You'll want to contact your ISP or your internet service provider to find out what information you need to send email, as well as your web hosting company to find out what their requirements are. Once you're armed with that information, you'll head over to the File tab and click on Add Account. Because these accounts are a little trickier than the Exchange server account or an IMAP account, we're going to configure these manually, so we're going to choose the Manual Configuration option and then click Next. We're setting up a POP account and clicking Next. And now we need to start filling in our information. We start by filling in our name and the email address that we will be using. We indicate that it's a POP account, although we can also set up an IMAP account using the same features. We're going to type in our incoming mail server as well as our outgoing mail server. We type in our username And again, that depends on your web host. Sometimes you'll be typing in your entire name, and sometimes you'll be needing to type in your actual email address. And you'll type in your password. You can also make a decision to either create a brand new Outlook data file or add this data to an existing data file. Optionally, you might need to go into more settings and make other modifications based on the input from your web hosting company. You can also test your account to make sure that the account is properly set up. You'll then click Next and Finish. Remember, you can set up multiple email accounts in Outlook. Once you set up your primary mail account, you can set up additional ones. For example, I use my Karen account for my clients, an info account for general inquiries, and a blog account to help me track the effectiveness of my blog site.